This video is sponsored by Amino Apps.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Scribbattle episode.
We're here in Amino Stadium to see who would be victorious in a battle between my Scribblenauts Unlimited creations of Bendy and the Ink Machine characters versus Five Nights at Freddy's characters in head-to-head combat. But first, a very quick word about our sponsor. Today's battle is brought to us by the amazing Bendy Amino app. Bendy Amino is a social community built for and run by die-hard Bendy fanatics. We've mentioned them before in a past episode, but I know that so many of you enjoyed the Bendy Amino, and they're a very good friend to us in Condopolis. So after clicking the links in the description of this video to install the app, you can immediately see a myriad of amazing featured posts on the front page, like this one. Bendy's shared folder allows fans to share and interact with Bendy fan art more easily than ever. Always catch up on the latest theories, news, and public chats for RP. There are also polls, quizzes, challenges, and a lot of other things for you to do over there, so please use the iOS or Android links in the description below and find me over there too. I've even included a poll for you guys to easily vote and see what everybody thinks about today's battle. Who would win, Bendy's team or the FNaF team? So definitely have some fun over there with Amino, and with that,
Let's get on with the battle.
Team Bendy, or BATIM, consists of Bendy, Boris, Sammy Lawrence, and Demon Bendy, or the evil Ink Bendy from Chapter 2. Team FNaF will consist of Original Bonnie, Twisted Freddy, Nightmare Chica, and Adventure Phantom Foxy. And just to note, Adventure Phantom Foxy is short like that, being from FNaF World, so that's the reason that he looks shorter than the others. So let's start out with a semi-free-for-all styled skirmish here, where we'll be applying adjectives of still and hostile as needed, with this dividing wall between the two sides. For the start of this free-for-all, we'll try to pit Bendy versus Twisted Freddy and Boris versus Bonnie, but of course, whatever happens, happens, so let's try to take off the adjectives.
Round 1.
Here, we'll take away Bendy's, we'll make him hostile, and it looks like actually that was probably not the best idea, because you could see Twisted Freddy with the still adjective, he's like, "Ugh." He was hit by the ink, because Bendy in Scribblenauts here, as I've created him, does shoot out ink. We actually can't confirm that from any of the Bendy and the Ink Machine games, of course, but just as a special, I guess, reference to Bendy and the Ink Machine and everything, when I did create Bendy in my series of creating Scribblenauts characters, he does shoot out the ink as a projectile, and so sometimes in Scribblenauts Unlimited, when you have characters dueling like these are right now, we do have the fights going underway right now with Twisted Freddy hitting Bendy and Boris with Bonnie. As I was saying, anybody with a range, they can sometimes keep the melee characters at bay. And it does look like actually we're a few hits away from Bendy going down. Twisted Freddy still going strong. Bam! There was the final hit. And so Bendy is down. Twisted Freddy actually not joining in against Bonnie's foe here, which is Boris. Twisted Freddy is trying to go after me. I'm flying up there above, and this is just foolish. I should have applied the invisible adjective to me and gotten me out of there. But that's okay. We can still see what the result is going to be with Bonnie versus Boris right now. They are just going at it, and it's actually very, very evenly matched. And so let's try to speed things up here, and we will see what happens finally now that they are down to kind of just a few hits each. And it looks like Bonnie is actually going to be victorious because Boris is down. Twisted Freddy adding insult to injury, kicking the head of Boris. You know, speaking of kicking somebody while they're down, Boris was down and Twisted Freddy kicked that head. So that looks like a victory for the FNaF team twice right there. So let's see if the Bendy team can make it up right now, where we got Bendy, the evil Ink Demon Bendy, and Sammy Lawrence, and this is just going awful again. Dang it. Okay, so we have to take, you know, the Ink Bendy out of there right now. He actually kind of got an unfair advantage off against, you know, he was hitting Sammy Lawrence at that moment. But we do have Nightmare Chica going up against Sammy right now, and it's mostly even, although it does look like Nightmare Chica is doing a little bit more damage, has a little bit more health, which is probably true to the form of both of these life forms. It does look like Sammy Lawrence is going to lose that fight, and so not looking good if you are a fan or a member of the Bendy team. So I think with that, honestly, we should just try to move quickly into round 2, where we will basically pit as even as we can, put the matchup between just individual characters. So like for instance, we're going to start off with Twisted Freddy going up against the evil demon Ink Bendy right here.
Round 2. Fight!
so we will apply the hostile adjectives. We do have the dividing walls in between them. We've put the walls pretty close in between them because with Demon Bendy's projectile, he will actually be able to use that distance. It might be an unfair advantage, who knows, but finally we've got them fighting each other. Of course, the Demon Bendy actually started off with a Yeti, I believe, as the source object, if I remember right, and we got our Twisted Freddy with the Golem source object as the start. It does look like Twisted Freddy does a lot more damage here, though. Those little ink strikes are not doing as well. Twisted Freddy coming out on top right here, and that, again, kicking the heads. Twisted Freddy throwing shade and being the saltiest competitor out here. Let's actually see what this would look like, just pitting them against each other again, just to try it out. And it does look like in 2 battles, Twisted Freddy has won both of them. So, and what do you know? He's still kicking the heads around. He's just like, get this trash out of here. So Twisted Freddy gonna rack up a point for FNaF team. And so now we've got Bendy going up against Adventure Phantom Foxy. We didn't get to see Adventure Phantom Foxy fight too much. This is what I was actually talking about with ranged characters. They can keep those close range characters at bay. And so unfortunately for the FNaF team, it looks like the Phantom Foxy can't get a hit off. You know, he's getting very close. There was one hit right there. He has actually done a few hits, I guess, up until this point, but not enough probably to fully take down the Bendy. We will actually allow this one. You know, sometimes we, in the previous battle, for example, we kept the walls closer in so that they couldn't keep the characters at bay. You know, they had to be very close to each other, but I think in this case, we are going to allow this one. Adventure Phantom Foxy could potentially, if this was, you know, each of their respective universes, could get a poison bite off. It looks like Bendy actually now is changing the flow of kicking heads. With the Phantom Foxy's head on the ground, Bendy was thinking, no, you get your trash out of here. So Bendy getting revenge for the BATIM team. Let's see what happens though when we go back to our matchup of Bonnie versus Boris. This time in combat, Boris actually was running away. Probably should have started off with a brave adjective or something like that, but we do have Boris going up against Bonnie. It's looking very, very similar to what we saw earlier. They just trade a blow back and forth, boom, boom, and mostly even. Boris howling like crazy because, of course, we do have a wolf as his source audio, but I really think we're going to need to speed this up right now, so let's kind of fast forward through as they keep hitting each other over and over again. Now that we're down to the last few hits, we're going to see who's going to reign victorious over this matchup. And so Bonnie is actually I think the closer one. It looks like just by a few little pieces of heart. It does happen. Bonnie is the winner of that matchup. And just to test it out again, let's go ahead and do another one. We'll see actually what happens when, I think it's based off of who gets the first hit off. So again, we're going to need to fast forward through a lot of these and kind of speed them up because it does take a while just with their damage for them to take each other down. So as we move forward, they are punching and punching and punching, and we will see who's going to be victorious this time. In a second battle, it actually looks like Boris that time was victorious. Notice that whoever seems to get that first punch off is going to be the victor, meaning that they are pretty much exactly evenly matched down the middle. And so we do have a dividing wall to make this fair to see, you know, who's going to get the first hit off. They're exactly the same distance apart. They've got this divider. Let's lift it actually and see who gets that first hit. That's probably going to determine. It looks like Bonnie got the first hit off. And so now if we just super speed this battle up, punches flying everywhere. This is like a Dragon Ball Z sequence or something where they just fight and fight and fight. But yes, it looks like actually with Bonnie being the one that gets the first hit off, Bonnie did end up the victor. So that theory is correct between Bonnie and Boris. Whoever gets that first hit off, they've got it made. We got Sammy Lawrence coming up against Nightmare Chica right now. He is a little bit afraid, but he is still going to be able to fight right on time right here. It does look like, though, Sammy Lawrence, especially determined from before when they were fighting, Sammy was actually the weaker of the two. You don't really know what Sammy is capable of, although he seems to be capable of some pretty dark things after seeing Bendy and the Ink Machine Chapter 2 with Sammy Lawrence in that. But it doesn't seem to be dark enough, or Nightmare Chica is just darker, because Nightmare Chica is the winner. So it looks like Team FNaF is just going crazy with victories here. So we will advance this on to round 3, the final round. This is where we pit protagonists or champions on each team. So the winners of that last round, we can pick one from the FNaF team. But Bendy, the original Bendy, was the only winner on the BATIM team. And so we've got Twisted Freddy, basically protagonists, I guess, going up against each other right now. Bendy is keeping him at bay a little bit now that the round has started. This is going to be crazy. We don't know what's going to happen in the end, but find out very soon as they are exchanging some attacks. Bendy actually keeping Twisted Freddy at bay right now. We'll speed this up a little bit because he's just throwing ink blob after ink blob ink projectiles flying everywhere, Twisted Freddy not seeming to be able to get a hit in on our Bendy creation, so I don't think we need to see any more. It looks like Bendy actually would win that one. We'll go ahead and pause the game and we'll reset up the match. We'll see what would happen if the walls were actually together. We will count that as a victory on the Bendy team, but now we'll actually see with the walls very close in. It is a different story. It is close though, you know, it's still definitely a close matchup, but it looks like Twisted Freddy actually is doing a little bit more damage with each hit. They are very close. That was just down to the wire, but it looks like Twisted Freddy is going to be the winner there. So that was a tally, one for each team, and that means it's time to go ahead and review each battle and tally up the points. So back in round one, when Twisted Freddy and Bonnie were repping Team FNaF, we also had Boris and Bendy repping the BATIM team. Twisted Freddy ended up defeating Bendy there. Boris ended up losing to Bonnie, so that was 2 points on the FNaF team. We couldn't exactly get our Ink Bendy to cooperate in the next little free-for-all skirmish, so it was Nightmare Chica and Sammy Lawrence. But if you recall, in that first round, Nightmare Chica was the one that won that, so that was 3-0 in favor of the Five Nights at Freddy's team. So then when we moved on to round two, Twisted Freddy tallied up a win for the FNaF team against the Demon Ink Bendy. And then, of course, just our original Bendy did actually end up beating the Adventure Phantom Foxy, putting Team Bendy on the map with 1 point there. And we actually traded off a few victories where Bonnie won the first match against Boris, but then Boris won the second match against Bonnie. Then when we evened it up, Bonnie did actually walk away from that alive, where Boris fell. And of course, in a rematch of Sammy versus Nightmare Chica, it still seemed that Nightmare Chica was the stronger of the two, pulling in another victory, another point for the FNaF team. And in the final round, we had Bendy versus Twisted Freddy, and it was one victory for each of the competitors. So ultimately, when you look at the tallies right now, any way you slice it, at least for a Scribblenauts battle, it seems that Team Five Nights at Freddy's was victorious over Team Bendy and the Ink Machine. Now recall, these are just Scribble battles. These are not necessarily in the respective universes of each game, so whatever you do, just remember these are Scribble battles. Real quick before we end, I wanted to refer you to the episodes where I created each of these characters, since I do have a Scribblenauts creation tutorial series that I run in tandem with these battles. So Bendy was created in episode 218, Boris was in episode 227, and both Sammy Lawrence and Demon Ink Bendy were in episode 226. On the FNaF side, Twisted Freddy was made in episode 234, Adventure Phantom Foxy was in 156, and both the original Bonnie and Nightmare Chica creations are remakes of older creations, but they made cameos in the creation series recently, just without a creation tutorial. I hope everyone has enjoyed seeing this battle. Remember to put in your requests of who you would want to see fighting. It could be teams of characters, or it could just be individuals. Just reference my creation series of all the things we created, and tell me who you want to see go up against each other, and also, of course, comment who you think would win if this was not a Scribble battle, the Bendy team or the Five Nights at Freddy's team. Who do you think would win? You can even answer in that Amino poll when you go to download the Amino app. Of course, in the description, as I said, find me over there, answer that poll, and we'll get everybody's opinions in on this. Otherwise, of course, I will catch you guys on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
Scribble battle.
Jump ship, it's my Titanic life about to slip. After I feel like I got it going on, the fog starts to lift, but it's all going wrong. Widespread panic, everybody jump ship.